Yo, what's good? What's good? What's good? Y'all, it's episode 13 of the Unpopular Opinion Podcast, man. Got myself, Clutch Davis, BC Sham. We excited. It's off season, but off season is about to be up. Football season is about to jump in. We got a lot of good things we're gonna talk about. Miss y'all boys and girls. We know it's a multi-diverse audience that watches us, man. So we're gonna go ahead and pray. We're gonna jump right on into it. Lord, we thank you for the day. Thank you for my brothers. Thank you for the brotherhood we share, Lord. Thank you, Lord God, for anybody watching this podcast that we're able to just keep them entertained, give them an outlet from things they do on a day-to-day basis, Lord. Thank you, Lord God, that we're a source of faith, entertainment, and representation of everything that you've called, men to be on this earth, Lord God. And I thank you that even throughout these conversations, they're blessed by them, they're able to chime in and we're able to converse with them and even get their input and provide feedback and build relationships with all the people who decide to watch. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
What's going on, y'all? Back for episode
What's up,
13. You know what I'm saying? What's going on, everybody? Glad y'all tuned in. Glad y'all checking us out. You know what I'm saying? We ain't gonna drag it on. We gonna get straight into it today. You know what I'm saying? Ain't gonna take too long. You know what I'm saying? Get straight into what's going on out here. Like I said, it's kind of off season for a lot of sports, but that doesn't mean that there's not any topics, any news and stuff like that still going on. So let's get to it. So man, first off, let's start off with, hip hop just turned 50, man. That's a big deal for hip hop. A lot of people thought that hip hop, when it first started, wasn't going to pan out. They thought it was just some phase or some fad or whatever that was just going to, go away after a while or whatever. It didn't make sense to a lot of people. You know what I'm saying? They thought it was kind of corny or whack or, whatever, basic, whatever you want to call it. A lot of people just did not think that it was going to amounts to anything, but as we know, that's not true. We now have hip hop billionaires. You know what I'm saying? We now have hip hop albums that have spent numerous of weeks number one on the Billboard charts. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, definitely hip hop has proven a lot of people wrong, and a whole culture has been created behind hip hop. You know what I'm saying? Outside of the music, a whole culture has been created. A whole wave of influence has been created. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, man, a lot of subgenres have been made because of hip hop. You just don't have your boom bap DJs anymore. Like you got all kinds of other genres and stuff that they've come up with that started from the foundation of hip hop, man. So, just kind of wanted to chop it up with y'all, man, about y'all's thoughts about hip hop, man, and maybe who y'all's favorite. I know we already talked about it before, but just refresh people's memories on who your favorite rappers are and some dope moments you've had in your life that have been very hip hop connected or whatever the case it may be. You know what I'm saying? And what do y'all feel like next 50 years of hip hop could potentially look like?
Man, I'd love to jump in on this one, man. Clutch, that was a great introduction. I would say for me, man, I think one of the greatest things that I like about hip hop, and I think everybody shares it, is what was your first introduction to hip hop like? You remember that first time you heard that beat, or the first time you heard that artist, you might not know the name, you might have known what it was, but some English like it's kind of hot. And I think that's a thing, an experience that anybody can chime in on. Like even if you weren't there, none of us were alive at the inception of it. None of us are 50, but we all know when hip hop was first birthed in our hearts, our first experience. So I remember for me, man, like I remember being in New York, and I was in a taxi cab with my dad. I can't remember where we were going. But I remember they played DMX. This is like DMX is at like the height of his career. And my pops was like, stop, drop, shoot him down, open up shots. And that was my first introduction to it. And I was like, yo, I didn't know who dude was, like barking on the track, but all the energy. I was like, yo, this is fire. And then, my pops, that was one of his favorite artists. He loved the energy as well. And that was my first introduction to hip hop, man. I was like, and I didn't realize, what type of how it really engraft, really the trajectory of how, my life will flow based upon the artists I liked and who I listened to. But that was my first introduction to it, man. So shout out to DMX, rest in peace, DMX, shout out to his family. But that was my first introduction, just that grittiness, that rawness, and that energy. So, man, that's an experience I'll never forget.
I'll say for me, well, one of my role models growing up was my Uncle Sean. Shout out to my Uncle Sean. With him, I used to ride with him. I used to always want to go places with him. And what I vaguely remember was when Tupac changed his name to Machiavelli and the Machiavelli CD. And he was like, one of those CDs where don't tell your parents you listen to this. But like once I listened to that CD, and it was like Tupac was like, oh my gosh. So I went back, little, little and intrigued. So I was like, I want to listen to some more, Tupac. And so with that's when I got introduced. But when I really fell in love with hip hop was when Outkast came out with ATLiens. One of my cousins had the tape. I'm showing my age now, but he had the tape of ATLiens, and we was in the room listening to it, and I was like, man. So that's when I like fell in love with hip hop.
I think my first introduction to hip hop was definitely was through my mom. She was listening to the cassette tape, so she in that era, and I'm kind of like tail end of that era, but like she would always play like either Tupac or Biggie, like whichever one she was in the mood to listen to. But like those were her probably like two go-to rappers to listen to back then. So that was my first introduction. But I really like fell in love with hip hop through my cousin, Quentin. He was hip hop fan, and he put me on a lot of up north rappers. So like Jadakiss, The Locks, Dipset, G Unit, like a lot of those artists was artists that he listened to. So that's mainly where the influence came from through my cousin Q. If you watching, bro, love you, dog. But yeah, that's pretty much my introduction to it.
I definitely got to shout out my pops, man. I'm showing my age, you know what I'm saying? Because this was 2003 and I was only like 6 or 7. But, anyways, yeah, man, my dad used to blast 50 Cent, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to 50, man. That Get Rich or Die Trying album, like, my dad used to play that faithfully, bro. Like, faithfully, dog. We used to play Get Rich or Die Trying, man. And, yeah, bro. So 50 was my first favorite rapper, you know what I'm saying? Like, real talk, I wanted to be like 50, you know what I'm saying? I used to watch him on 106 in Park and at the BET Awards and all that, you know what I'm saying? As a little kid, I gravitated. I think before the music really hit me hard, I think the culture of hip hop hit me harder than anything because I used to love, again, I wasn't supposed to be up watching no BET and all that stuff, but I didn't care. I did what I was, saying, but I snuck and did it anyways, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, I used to love 106 in Park and BET and the BET Awards, and I used to fight with my little sisters because they wanted to watch the kid cartoons and stuff, the stuff we were supposed to be watching for our age. But me, I wanted to watch the grown stuff. I wanted to watch BET Awards and 106 in Park and Rap City and all that, Big Tig in the Basement. I wanted to watch all that, you know what I'm saying? I didn't want to watch cartoons. I wanted to watch that. So because again, back to just being connected to that 50 Cent album, Get Rich or Die Trying, man. And that's why 50 to this day is and he in my top 5 period. It don't matter, like, because he just was my first favorite rapper. You know what I'm saying? And I just was impressed how this man got shot 9 times and came from being a real street dude to now being a mogul. And, that just was very impressive to me. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man, that was my first experience with it. I won't now so that was like the culture part, but the music part, I won't say I really fell in love with hip hop until it took me a while, man, to really appreciate hip hop and for the art form that it was, and that's when I discovered. And I won't say discovered because I knew who he was, but when I started getting serious about lyrics and wordplay and production and stuff like that, was Nas, and that's why Nas to this day is my favorite rapper. But that didn't come till like 2014, 2015. It took me a minute. I had to grow up a little bit. But then once I heard Nas and heard how this dude still had swag, but still was talking about some real stuff in his music at the same time and educating people, but he did it in such a swaggy way that you had to respect it. Like, it wasn't corny. It wasn't like judgmental. It was on some, man, let me put you on the game, young, and you know what I'm saying? But I'm going to show you how to be fly at the same time. And that's when I started rocking with Nas heavy, man, and his wordplay and lyricism and all that. It just changed my life, bro. It just did, bro. It made me realize, okay, you can kick knowledge and still be cool at the same time. You know what I'm saying? You don't got to be a lame to kick knowledge. You know what I'm saying? Because that's the stereotype that if you kick knowledge, you're a geek, you're a nerd or whatever. But Nas showed that, nah, bro. So that's when I fell in love with the musical aspect of hip hop, man. Ever since, man, I'm big on lyrics and production, and that's why I can't listen to any old thing now. Like, I don't know what hip hop got going on now, but I ain't gonna diss nobody. You know what I'm saying? Like, we got hope for better days, man. We got hope for better days. So.
Hope for better days.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we gotta touch on like who is like your favorite like artists, duos, groups, female artists. Like
I
Yeah.
mean, y'all already know me.
I'm about to say,
Nas the greatest of all
yeah.
time in my book. I mean, y'all know that. We said it last episode too. I mean, Nas the greatest of all time in my book. Lyricism matched with swag and stuff like that. I admit he didn't always pick the best beats. You know what I'm saying? I can admit that. I'm not no stan who gonna act like he didn't always pick the best beats and stuff like that. But just want to break down somebody who just and still going on this crazy run now. Like this dude done dropped like five albums in the last I don't know what Nas just found the second win, bro. Like he going crazy right now, bro. So I mean, he definitely my favorite. You know, y'all already know I spoke on 50. Andre 3000. You know, I always gotta show love to Pop. You know what I'm saying? Big shout out to Lecrae. You know what I'm saying? Lecrae changed my life. Seriously, bro. Like, really, really changed my life for real, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, deep in the music, bro. Dude really changed my life for real. So, shout out to Lecrae. Always gonna be in my top 5. I don't care if he's not the most popular rapper out there. He in my top 5, period. It is what it is, you know? And, yeah, that's what I'm rocking with.
Man, I'm gonna go ahead and rock on this one, man. I believe my top 5 was always like fluctuating. So because there's so many dope artists, I just love the culture. But right now, I would say the most consistent ones definitely have been Andre 3000. He's always up there just because of how he could take any topic and really flow. He really makes that topic his own in hip hop culture. Right now, I definitely was a huge J. Cole fan. I just, even J. Cole's the type of artist where it's like he doesn't have to put out a lot, but the quality is always there. And he's the type of artist where I really respect the fact that he understands less is more. The type of artist, to put out, albums with no features and it's all him. He doesn't have to do it that way. But I love that stand, and he always, I feel like he always raps his convictions, and he's always willing to go against the grain of hip hop. 3, co-signer, even with what you mentioned, Chris, Lecrae. Lecrae was, I believe, like I always say, he's like the pioneer, one of the pioneers of Christian hip hop. Broke doors, broke doors open when I really started really flowing and really getting more into where God was leading me to go. I had Lecrae in my headphones like almost all the time. And let me see, I want to mention like 2 more. I'm gonna throw Big Boy up there this time. I feel like because of how great Andre 3000 is, Big Boy gets a lot of being like underhyped a lot, but Big Boy is extremely talented, and I've never heard a bad verse from him. And for I'm gonna do a 5th one, and I'm gonna do an honorable mention. My 5th one, I'm gonna go ahead and put Drake up there this time. And I got Drake up there right now because of his consistency. Drake has been. I can honestly say Drake was one of those artists that when he first came out, I was like, I don't know. The whole Degrassi thing, coming out of the show, being a rapper, I mean, at the end of the day, he was branded literally as a wheelchair rapper, like Wheelchair Jimmy. That's all everybody knew him for. So it takes a certain amount of consistency and skill to be able to really rebrand yourself and people really respect it. So, man, I got a lot of respect for Drake for his consistency. I said it before. I think to me, he's like the LeBron James of hip hop for his generation. And honorable mention, man, I'm gonna go ahead and throw up. I'm gonna put Trip Lee up there. When I really started like shifting and getting really into Christian hip hop and really getting into what lyrics I was hearing, because I know that was going to affect the trajectory of my thinking. Man, Trip Lee, along with Lecrae, he was one of Lecrae's first artists. Trip Lee definitely. I could listen to Trip Lee albums front to back, no skips. So that's my ones for right now, man. As far as artists go.
With me,
my bad, piece of good.
Okay. With me, it's not in no particular order, but for me, I'm gonna say, Andre 3000, of course, because I'm a huge Outkast fan. Lil Wayne. I have to say Tupac, because that's where I started. And I'm gonna say I like J. Cole, and my little iffy one is I'm starting to like him more and more. People might clown me for it, but I like Rod Wave.
Great. I heard people get on some Rod Wave.
They always say he's depressed and he but if you actually like listen to it, he talks about like what he's going through in life. How he feeling and everything. So I'm really on a little Rod wave right now.
Word.
Right now, y'all know my junk change like all the time, but I'm still, but of course I can still keep Kiss on there because he's my all-time favorite rapper. I'm gonna go Wayne. I'm gonna go Jeezy. And like I want to put Lecrae. I want to put Lecrae on there. But the thing is, like, Lecrae had like it's the people that he kind of like helped birth like under him that I like listen to a lot more. So like I wanna say like Aha, because Aha like my favorite artist that was up under him. That's my dog. Um, yeah, I like Aha. I listen to him a lot. Um, and I'm gonna go with to round it out. I go Andre 3000. Yeah, and that, like I said, that's today. Tomorrow will probably be a different file. So that's just how it goes.
Man, that's a fact. Man, solid, man. I've left two. I left Cole out. Cole definitely my top 5.
Oh yeah.
J.
Yeah,
Cole,
Drake.
bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, J. Cole in my top 5. Crit, I got Crit and Drake honorable mentions.
Mm.
People always disrespect Crit. They gonna always disrespect Crit, but I don't care about it. Y'all let out Crit. Why don't we get started on that, bro? I get tired of people disrespecting Crit.
I definitely forgot Crit just now. Like,
yeah, they disrespect my boy. I don't like that.
That's the thing. That's why it's so hard to do a 5. Like
that's why Crit say now y'all want to hear
country.
country. Now y'all want to hear country rap. You know what I'm saying? Because y'all
that
be
part,
sleeping on the country boy.
that part, Chris, man.
Y'all be sleeping on the country. Y'all be sleeping on the South. Andre said the South got something to say. Y'all be sleeping on us, man.
Don't see.
Now, pivotal moment in hip hop, man. That what you just mentioned just now, when Andre 3000 said the South got something to say, that was such a trajectory shift in hip hop. Because I believe from that point on, I believe that was such a weighty statement. Not only was the spotlight shifting from New York, and I got it right, I can say it from Brooklyn. I got on the hat, but I saw the shift from New York being the culture bearers of hip hop, shifting to the South, and Atlanta being a pioneer of hip hop for that era. And it was like Outkast were the catalyst for it. So, and I love for y'all to chime in on this aspect too, because I believe this was like, it was almost like hip hop going from, and when he said that, hip hop going from preteen to a full blown teenager, and coming into older age of adolescence. So in New York hip hop, which I love it was niche. You know, it was hip hop. People just getting into it. It was like if all of hip hop was underground. People starting to get into like people like like maybe like your Kumo D's and Lauryn Hills and things like of that nature. And when you had Outkast, like we got something to say, they took hip hop and they were able to integrate it into other realms and genres like pop and rock. You had other people like, hold on, like they rapping over production like this. And they said, and I believe when Andre said that, he basically let people know hip hop doesn't just have something to say for the hip hop community. We got something to say across every genre.
Right.
And they were the group that took it there.
I feel like it started in New York. New York is the Mecca, like they say. You know what I'm saying? But I feel like before it got to the South and went out west, NWA, Ice-T, Cube, all, you know what I'm saying, that whole era right there, you know what I'm saying? It went out west for a minute, went out to Cali.
It did.
Then after the West had they run, that's when the South came over, because really Andre's response at that time, of course, New York was still doing their thing. Don't get me wrong. I mean, Biggie and Pac and them was still doing their thing. I mean, I said Biggie and Pac. Biggie and Nas and them was still doing their thing. Wu-Tang, they were still doing their thing. But remember, that was that same award show where Suge and them was running things, West Coast.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So I know Andre wasn't exactly talking to just Suge and them, but it's almost like he was saying, all right, we taking it from the West now. Like the West was, Death Row and all that was the ones that was daggone, running the ship, you know what I'm saying, and then it came down south, and I think, like you said, man, the South just was different, bro. People because you got some people that don't like that it came down. Some people feel like the South is corny and that we don't take rap serious and that we play too much. Like, think about it. We was the crunk era and all that. They think we play too much and we turned hip hop into a mockery, and because we be dancing and having a good time while we rap and stuff. And some people think that's corny. Because let's be real, the New York artists are a lot more serious. They ain't do all that dancing and all that. That wasn't. I mean, you had bass in them, but that was a brief era. But for the most part, you had people like Nas and Wu-Tang and even 50 and them. Like, them boys ain't dancing and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? They real serious about it, I guess because New York is a little rougher too, let's be honest. You know what I'm saying? Them trenches up there are probably a little rough. I mean, don't run the South got some trenches too now. Don't get me twisted, but I know New York is a rough place, bro. Period. Like, just in general, But yeah, a lot of people. Sometimes people feel like the South killed hip hop. You know what I'm saying? And be trying to say we didn't take care of it the proper way because we be dancing and playing. But I don't know, bro. Again, it's just like it's evolution, bro. It's different genres, it's different vibes for everybody, bro. Like, I just think we showed y'all this is what we do down here, bro, and we learn how to turn it into an art form. Like, we like to throw
Right.
cookouts and have a good time, and so we just put that in our music, bro. You know what I'm saying? We like to dance and snap and whatever. You know what I'm saying? That's our thing, bro. We don't want to be serious, and I'm not dissing the North at all. I'm not dissing no other region. I'm just saying, like, down here we like to have a good time, bro. Like, we don't want to be hard all the time, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Chris, you said something just now that I think is very pivotal to the growth of hip hop. Because I think we've heard, and I think I want to hear all y'all chime in on this. We've heard a lot of times throughout culture, throughout all of hip hop's age, that hip hop is what's destroying the culture, or it's that rap music that's killing the kids and things of that nature. Now, I'm not saying that's completely wrong or things like that, or that it's not some validity to it. But what you said earlier, Chris, and I think that a lot of us caught it, and I know I caught it, was that you mentioned how I believe hip hop takes on the texture of the environment that it's being produced out of. So
Right.
New York is a lot more serious because the overall culture of New York in that time was things are real gritty. The projects are gritty. Things are gritty up there. So that's how that music is going to feel. That's how the texture of that genre is going to feel from that particular area. And the West Coast, gang banging culture was already there. It was already incepted, from Bloods and Crips. And it was that texture was already there. So LA's hip hops is going to sound more aggressive. And they knew what they were dealing with the cops. So everything came out of there was more aggressive. And the South, I believe they found ways to encompass more partying and joy, even though they still had elements of the hood and things that were happening. But that texture of what, the area, what was going through sounded like what it was coming out of. So my question with all of that is hip hop really the cause of a lot of bad things in culture, or is it just taking on the texture of the environment of what's already happening in that particular area?
Yeah, that's a good point. I never thought about it like that, but that is true though if you think about it, because like that's how trap music kind of came along. Like
Right.
it came from like most artists that really was doing that junk. Like
Mm-hmm.
they, times hard. They gotta do what they gotta do. Go on the street, sell a little dope or whatever they doing. But them dudes was doing that first, and then they, once they got out of that and they started doing something else, started dabbling with music. That's what the music came from. Like it came from that. Like. So like that's when you got your Jeezys, T.I.'s, Gucci Manes, like you got artists like that because that was their environment. That's what they saw. So yeah, that's true, bro. It's just like with drill now. Like these kids now, they going out there, they smoking each other, bro, and going in the booth and they rapping about it. Like they telling you what it is. So like I never thought about it like that, but yeah, that is very true though. Like I think it's the environment that they in, and they just using that art form to express themselves, and pretty much that's the news right there in itself is hip hop music.
Hip hop is the news. And I've never heard it said like that, man. BC, you could jump in at any time too. Man, hip hop is the news. So
Right.
I believe what we realized as a culture coming up was that hip hop was the news for us. Because when other people were talking about things that were happening on the news, maybe in Ghana or these places, not to knock the validity of what's happening on the news, for us, that's not what we're seeing out the window every day. That's not what we're seeing as we walk to school every day. What we're seeing is literally what we're hearing in our headphones. This is what we're seeing. So man, as hip hop turns 50, man, this is gonna be a short episode, y'all, because we got things to happen on this Saturday, man. But we wanted to do an old hip hop episode, talk about a few things. Man, I think it's been a great conversation, man. BC, I would love to hear your thoughts about this, even as as we close out this episode, about how your perspective is when it comes to hip hop being the news for us, and how that really affected your perspective as well.
To me, I want to piggyback on what everybody was saying earlier about how Outkast, brought the rap game to the South, and then what I observed, somebody else might take it on, but it's like Outkast, brought hip hop to the South, but then you had No Limit to take it to that next level. And Master P, he started out rapping about drugs and everything, but then he showed you how you can make it out the hood. You don't have to trap for the rest of your life. You can be your own entrepreneur. You you can start a business. So, you know, Outkast gave it that pillar, but then No Limit took it to the next level. Then you keep going on, then you had Cash Money. So it's like, you know, some of them taught you, you know, from the South, you know, you got to trap, but then some of them taught you how to be entrepreneurs. So it's like you basically take it how you want it, and like you got to want to grind, you got to want to make yourself do better. So that was a good point where, you know, hip hop is the news, but you got to, as an individual, you got to want to do better for yourself.
That's good. That's good, man. I you know, collectively, I agree with all y'all's points. I think all those points was fire, man. Man, hip hop turning 50, but I never heard that way. Hip hop is the news. Hip hop was the news for us, man. And I would love y'all can comment whether y'all watching replay or anything, man. We love to hear y'all thoughts on this subject as hip hop turns 50 as well, how it affected you. You know, if it was the news for you coming up, if that was your news, or like what you, or if you were on the outside looking in and you wanted to know what that really felt like. I know it was some kid, everybody consumes hip hop from a different perspective. So a lot of us consumed it from being embedded in it. We're like, yep, we see that outside when we walk to school every day. Yep, that's happening around here. And some who lived in the suburbs or lived in better areas was like, it was like an allure to it. Like, I'm not there, but this music kind of brings me into it and I want to experience it. So yeah, man. Chris, I don't know if you want to jump in with the next topic or something else, but I think that was a great ode to hip hop as well.
Y'all asked what was the question again? What was the question again for that last topic?
That last one we talked about artists, and then we segued into just it was an alternate route, but we segued into how hip hop has, you know, really been the news, and how hip hop was the news for a lot of our younger culture, and that was how we got our information, got our updates, man. And I didn't know if we wanted to jump into, you know, what everybody's like best duo or best group was, as far as, you know, as far as how that goes. If you wanted to flow with that.
I don't know if I want to say the best, man. I don't know if I want to. I think group. I feel like I don't know if I want to rank groups. I'll just say what my favorites were. I don't know if I really want to rank groups though.
Gotcha.
I mean, obviously respect the G Unit. You know what I'm saying? You know, respect to Wu Tang, of course. You know what I'm saying? You know, NWA. You know, I'm trying to think of some other groups, man. I kind of really rock with. Of course, Outkast, you know what I'm saying? Major love to Outkast always. I'll even shout out, man, the Migos too, man. Migos really shifted the culture in their own way too. They really did, bro. You know what I'm saying? Contrary to what people may feel about or whatever, but they shifted the culture in their own way. They really did, man. Because nobody was rapping like that before. Well, I take that back. Bone Thugs and Twista and them kind of started out in Chicago, the Midwest. Well, not Chicago, well, Twista from Chicago, but the Midwest is what I'm really trying to say. The Midwest kind of started that sound, but Migos took it to another level. They made it more mainstream. I'll put it that way. You know, added a little more swag to it. You know what I'm saying? But definitely shout out to Migos. I mean, but yeah, them some of my favorite groups, man. And I do, because I didn't get a chance to comment on this, I do want to go back to the original point, though, or what y'all were talking about. I feel like it's 50-50 when y'all say, like, y'all were saying is hip hop responsible for
we're responsible for the environment, or are they just, is that hip hop being produced that way because of the environment that it's in, that it's coming from?
It's 50-50, and I know people, and again, I'm pretty sure I might be unpopular with this or whatever, or people might feel like whatever, but I do think that rappers need to be mindful of the influence and weight that they hold. You know what I'm saying? It's nothing wrong with telling your story. It's nothing wrong with being real and transparent about your story. I ain't telling you to lie that like you lived a life you didn't. You know what I'm saying? But however, you know, are you going back and trying to educate these kids on how to get to where you are now? Because you not selling dope no more. You know what I'm saying? You live in a mansion now, bro. You know what I'm saying? You're not killing people no more. Most of y'all ain't anyways. You know, the ones that are, they always end up getting caught up. You know what I'm saying? So I tell your story, keep it 100, keep it 1,000, tell your story. Yeah, people should know your story. You should be able to tell your story. You should be able to be very raw and transparent about how you felt about your story and what you went through. But my only thing is, when you keep trying to tell that story, that you're not even living no more. It's like, when are you going to evolve and elevate it and get out of that? You know what I'm saying? Because you're telling that story like you're still living it. These kids think you're still living it. So that makes these kids want to go live that same story. You know what I'm saying? And I just think we can't ignore that or act oblivious to that. Like we got to start holding our leaders, our influencers, whether they want to be leaders or influence or not. When you step into that role, you are a leader or influence. I think we got to start holding them more accountable, man. I think they have to start holding themselves more accountable and be real about what, you know, the influence you have on the generation under you, the influence you have on the people listening to you. I'm not saying that means you're responsible for everything everybody do. Of course not. You know, people have to make their own decisions and, you know, no right from wrong. However, you do have to respect and understand what your influence is, man. So I say it's 50-50. It's both. I think part of it was just people just being connected to their environment and just rapping about what they've been through, you know what I'm saying? And just that translating this way into their music. But I also think it's on the flip side, people just want to keep on holding on to, yeah, I've been through this and this was making me money, so I'm gonna keep on rapping about it. Even though I live in a mansion, I don't live in the hood no more, but I'm gonna rap like I'm still in the hood every day when you know you're not. Like, stop capping, bro. You know what I'm saying? You know, tell the truth, you know? So that's my stance on that.
Man, no, Chris, you said something, and I think that was powerful. One thing I caught from what you mentioned, I think there's a way that artists can tell their story without glorifying their story.
Right.
That's the segue. A lot of times in hip hop, you see that we glorify the damage that's being done, or we glorify, you know, these things and being transparent. Like I, you know, as you know, a couple of us on here write music. Chris has done some songs. Sham has, you know, I dabble in some music. When I'm conscious of when I'm writing, and y'all know on the group, I've been shot before. But I've written songs about that experience, but I don't write it from a place where I'm glorifying what happened. That makes me more hood or more gangster. It just means it's actually just a testament to what was happening in the environment at that time, wrong place, wrong time. And that's, you know, those are the details of that story. But I'm writing it from a perspective of that the next generation is hearing it. You don't have to go through that.
Right.
You know, like you don't have to be in that particular situation. And I think for artists, you control that pen, you control, you know, those thumbs with that phone or that iPad or whatever. You control your voice. So you control the perspective and how you frame what you're talking about when you do tell your story. And I believe the motives really show that. So if the goal is just to make money, just to get rich, then you'll glorify that story because that's what the label or the partners want you to do to make sure you keep getting paid, or they're telling you that's what sells. But if you're doing it from a place of conviction and you're like, no, like I don't just want to make money, I really want to educate and entertain at the same time, then you're the one who controls that as the artist. And I think in hip hop, we've seen both sides. We've seen artists who want to be honest about it, but also want to be catchy and be themselves. And we've seen artists who just glorify the hood life or just glorify, you know, the traumatization that's happening on a perpetual basis because they're being told that sells. And we've also seen, quote unquote, powers that be and marketing that it seems like they're pushing the one who glorifies the story more than the one who's just trying to shed light on the story.
Right. Real.
Yeah, that's true.
I definitely feel like that's real, man. I do.
Yeah, man. So, man, as hip hop turns, you know, it's 50, man. I guess y'all can chime in. What are some things that y'all would like to see shift over the next 50 years of hip hop? You could share some pros and cons that you liked from the hip hop culture coming up to now, and some things that you would like to see shift going forward.
I'll go first. What I really, really want to see is I want to see more lyricists and going back to storytelling.
That's good.
That's what I really want to see, because it's like now, you know, not the best some hip hop, but it's like if you got a hot beat, your lyrics can be like you could be saying a nursery rhyme, and as long as you got a hot beat, that's all that matters. So I want to go back to the art of storytelling and the art of being a, you know, lyricist like a J. Cole, you know, Kendrick Lamar, somebody like that, who really, well, you can kind of say Drake too, but you know, they don't really get that much credit because they're more of, you know, they're more lyric than a hot beat. So it's like I want to see like the going back to telling a story in a song, you know, to make you want to listen to the whole song. So I want to say being more lyricist.
That's good.
I like how you said the art of storytelling, Outcast. That's funny.
Yeah,
you know, a little segue. I ain't said it. You said it.
Yeah, no pun intended. Or no pun intended. Pun intended.
I'm with BC on that, but I think another thing I want to see too, like I don't know, I'm getting tired of like the whole like social media clout stuff. Like if y'all know what I'm talking about, like it seems like nowadays, bro, like anybody can be hot as long as they got clout. Like like you don't gotta like even have real talent. Like you just as long as you got like some type of clout, you automatically just get boosted up to like being to the top. And I'm not a fan of that. Cause like look at it, like think about it, like you don't have no hip hop songs by like I don't think by any artist that's in the top Billboard 100. When has that ever happened? Like that's in itself crazy. So that just lets you know what the product is. Like these dudes not putting out no good music, and they
Right.
popular, but it's not because of their music. So what else is it? Like it's just because they got clout, you know. And I mean it's cool. I mean I get it. You know, you got a brand and you got people like that's rocking with you, you know, because you got a great personality or whatever. That's fine, but like at the end of the day, you still categorized as a rapper. So like, I don't know, just put out a better product, man, and not rely on your internet clout, if that makes sense. But that's really the only thing I want to see change. I mean, other than people just putting out better music, but yeah, other than that, that's really the only thing I can really think of that I would want to see change though.
Nah, I agree with your point too, because like, but see, that's the thing though. I don't know if I can blame the rappers for that. If I blame the labels, because the labels are the ones who see that clout as an opportunity to make money, and so they stop thinking about can this person rap or not. Because in the label mind, they like, bro, we got billions of dollars. All I got to do is get you a hot producer, get you a hot songwriter, because they're not writing their lyrics. Most of them ain't. A lot of them ain't. I ain't gonna say most of them ain't. A lot of them ain't. You know what I'm saying? They're not writing their lyrics. All I got to do is get you a dope songwriter, get you a hot beat, and I can make millions off of you. That's all. So I can't even blame the influencer or the rapper per se or the influencer or whatever, because they got their clout, you know what I'm saying? But the label the one who say, oh man, we can make some money off you. You know what I'm saying? And so the labels don't care about substance. They don't care about daggone. They just care about who can make us the most money, who can get us hot. You know what I'm saying? And so, but I mean, I you know, I would like that to change, but I'm pretty sure, let's be real, we live in a very money driven society, dog. So everybody about getting money, man. And don't wrong, ain't nothing wrong with getting money, but it's better when you get money with substance. But that's a whole other story. I ain't gonna get into that. But anyways, yeah, I mean, I would like to see the OGs get more respect. I feel like the OGs get so disrespected now, bro. Like, yeah, man. Like if you ain't, and like I said, I'm not gonna say anybody's name, but if you ain't a certain, like it's like one OG in the hip hop game right now. I ain't gotta say their name. Y'all know exactly what I'm talking about. Ain't nobody gonna say one bad word about him, cause they scared. If they say one bad word about this dude, their whole career over, bro. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Like, so ain't nobody gonna disrespect him yet. We'll disrespect Bow Wow though. And I ain't saying Bow Wow ain't done some stuff that make you be like, what you got going on? But let's be real, bro. Bow Wow is a legend, bro. Like, but you got people
Right.
literally disrespecting this man. Like he's not a legend. Like we all didn't want to be like this dude growing up. And if nobody else want to admit it, I know I did. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, bro. Like we ain't watched Like Mike growing up. And we ain't thought that movie was hard, and we want to be like Calvin Cambridge. Like, come on, bro. Like, you know, it just be irking me, man. Because I guess if our legends don't, I guess what don't fit a certain mold or whatever, or they not as hot as they used to be. Because the person I referred to previously, they still hot. They still got a lot of stuff going for them. You know what I'm saying? The ones I guess who not as hot anymore, we feel like, oh, because they not hot, I can disrespect you. I don't have your word don't hold no weight. That ain't cool, bro. Like that's
We
one thing
just
I do want hip hop to start respecting their elders, bro. Like we gotta stop doing that, bro.
Mm,
Bow Wow is a
that's
legend.
good.
Bow Wow has sold has sold more than a lot of y'all rappers in the current game now, and probably gonna when y'all career's over, he probably gonna have more numbers than y'all. Like you know what I'm saying? Like bro, we got to hip hop got to get better with that, bro. Because somebody said it. Somebody made a good point. Hip hop is one of the only genres in music genres where the older you get, the more disrespect you get. In rock and roll, they revere their legends, bro. Their legends get put on a pedestal, bro. Like that's why you got old rock bands that still touring right now and selling out arenas, bro. Because they
Right.
respect, like they get the utmost respect, bro. You go to country, them old country singers, they get the Dolly Parton in them, they get the utmost respect, bro. Like they don't, you get respected as you get in the game. Hip hop, for some reason, the older you get, bro, unless you're an older person that's still relevant. If you just an older person that's like, I'm chilling now. I ain't really doing that no more. I'm kind of doing
no
this.
rock, yeah, they ain't no
Yeah,
rock
you
with
get disrespected. And I don't understand that. That's one thing that's so annoying to me about hip hop, bro. Like we gotta
I
stop
want
that,
to
bro. It's
I'm
so
a
wrong. It's why hip hop is not as great as hip hop is. Hip hop is not as far along as it could be because of that. You know what I'm saying? That's
Yeah.
probably part of the reason we ain't got no hip hop union, and you know what I'm saying. We don't even officially have a hip hop Hall of Fame. That's probably why, bro. Real talk, stuff like you got to respect your OGs, bro. Like you got to respect your OGs, bro. Like you got to, bro. Like hip hop need to have a board of directors or something like that with the OGs on this stuff, bro. Like, and
yeah.
I really want. That's one thing I really want to see change, bro. Like respect the OGs, bro. Respect the ones that paved the way for you, bro. Like there's no way. And then I be hearing stories about, and no wrong, there's a sense of responsibility that every human being has to have for themselves. But I also be hearing stories about the OGs going broke or whatever the case may be. Like
Yeah.
certain OGs, come on, bro. We should have a union or something, bro, where we slide them some bread. At, like they paved the way. Y'all wouldn't even be here if it wasn't for Rakim and them, bro. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, come on, bro.
I want to segue back into that, Chris. 'Cause I think you exactly right. I want to touch on that too, because I think a part of that is the overall culture of hip hop. Part of how you get clout is by going at who else is supposed to be the best one and taking them out and making them basically irrelevant. That's part of the order grain culture, but we got to learn how to balance that. But I wanted to also, and I'm gonna come back on that too. I wanted to say that also one of the things I want to see shift and change in the next 50 years of hip hop is I want us to see us get back to the origins of really honoring our women in hip hop and understanding that, because I'm seeing a lot of emerging women artists, and for the sake of not personalizing, I won't ever say a specific names or things like that, but I'm saying it looks like what's being promoted is the only way to success for the current woman in hip hop is self exploitation. And I
Right.
mean it's contradictory because that's not the only way for a woman to be successful in hip hop. A woman can be successful because of the talent. They can be successful because of the bars they write. Queen Latifah has done it. Lauryn Hill has done it. There are a lot of talented women in hip hop, but right now it's being positioned as if the only way that a woman can get exposure is if she exposes herself. And I think that's a contradiction. And I wanted to say, I'm gonna say something contradictory even about the labels. I'm gonna blame it on the artists, because what I'm gonna say is with the amount of technology that we have and the things that we had that they didn't have in the 90s, we can go direct to consumer. It just takes a matter of thinking differently, and it's probably gonna take a little bit more longevity and a little bit harder work. But the labels don't have as much power if we decide not to give it to them. Back in the day, I remember in the 90s, and I'm gonna mention Jay-Z for this particular point because I'm gonna give him credit for this. When nobody really wanted to sign him, he sold everything out of his trunk. Him and Dame Dash, they did it on the streets. What was that? That was direct to consumer. He could have given up and decided, well, maybe let me change my style. Because I believe back then everybody was still kind of rapping fast or doing certain rap. It was a certain way, certain type of music. He decided to say, I'm not changing who I am. I'm gonna just go direct to consumer. And then the label came to him, but he had leverage. I'm still going to do certain things my way. J. Cole did the same thing. There was a time when Jay and Wale were coming up, and a lot of labels felt like they were too conscious. And J. Cole held out, basically saying, I don't need the money like that. I'm gonna stay true to who I am. If I don't want to just make, just dance music or just radio hits because I'm J. Cole, and that's not what I'm gonna do. He's held out until he got the deal he wanted. And he had leverage because he was able to do that. And he stayed the type of artist that he was willing to be. And I believe with those type of artists, I'm using that as an example, there's more of that can happen. It's just that those artists have to be willing to say, I'm not selling out to these labels. It might take longer. It might take me being more creative, but I have the ability to go direct to my consumers now, and I can build my social media following. One thing, the labels, they might have money, but one thing they don't always have control of is the people. If a person connects with the soul of what that artist is saying, over time, if that artist is consistent, they're gonna go and support that artist. And so so right now I'm saying I want to challenge whoever's watching this podcast. If you're an artist, you're an upcoming artist, and something in you was like you kind of tired of the music that you're hearing, male or female, or you kind of something in you was like, I don't think I need to expose myself to get the fan base that I want. Stick to those convictions. Stick to those convictions. It might take longer, it might take a little bit more consistency. You might need to be a little bit more creative in your marketing, but trust that if it's something God's leading you to do, you stay there and don't allow anybody to shift or change you just because of a money grab or just because of a $1 million advance. If you're able to. Now I get it. There are going to be times when things are tough, stuff hurts, you got your environment is crazy. You might really need money, but what I want to speak to that individual and understand that I don't want to see the next 50 years of hip hop seeing the next generation sell out for an advance of money while they sell the rest of the generation that look up to them out. Because like you mentioned, Chris, once you step on that platform, you're a person that holds influence now. Younger women are looking up to you. Younger teenage boys are looking up to you. They're looking up to you, whether you want to admit it or not, whether you ask for it or not. It's not you don't get one or the other. You get clout because you want to be a successful artist. Being a role model on the back end, being an influencer comes with that. So that's one of the things I really want to see shift in the next 50 years of hip hop. I want to see upstanding, talented women get the shine that they deserve, like your Rhapsodies and individuals like that who are really dope and talented and they stick to their convictions. And I want to see one last thing I'm gonna say. I want to see more feel good hip hop music. Like I remember back when hip hop was first incepted, there was artists out there like De La Soul and people making good songs that was just feel good music that you could play at a party or play at a house party, and the song didn't have a bunch of lyrics about shooting everybody up, or
Right.
or 4 or 5 different curse words within the first verse. I wanna be able to play feel good hip hop music that I can play at a party where I don't have to like find the edited version and it's just feel good music. And I know that goes counterculture, but this is my voice. That's one of the things I want us to get back to. I believe it is doable. We can have artists that are willing to make more feel good music, and we can have a culture that really honors and respects and promotes women of real talent in hip hop too. And it doesn't have to be one or the other. It doesn't have to be, oh well, if she's talented, she got to expose herself. It doesn't have to be that.
Exactly. Well said, John.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be a culture shift, man. People stuck in their ways, man. Like it's gonna be a big culture shift, bro. Like even outside of music, bro. Like
Oh yeah.
all across the board, bro. I just feel like a lot of people stuck in their ways, and a lot of people feel like the only way they can blow up is if. And again, part of that is the culture's fault.
Mhm.
Like
We allowed it.
people feel like they got to do this, they got to do that to blow up. You know what I'm saying? I don't know, man. I just feel like there's a lot of hypocrisy within the culture, bro. Like
What
we
if,
tell people not to do this, but that's all. If you tell a girl keep her clothes on, right, or stop being, HOE, you know what I'm saying? If you tell her that, right, like tell her to keep her clothes on, but she got 10 million likes on Instagram. Like, I mean, it's contradiction, bro. Like we a lot of hypocrisy, bro. I'm pretty sure out of 10 million likes, it's probably 9 million of them dudes. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know, bro. Like, I don't know, bro. Like, I don't know, man. Like, man, I don't know, bro. It's just people got to be a culture shift, bro. Like,
it has to be.
It's like the females got to know their self-worth now. It's like they don't know their self-worth. Because it's like, oh, I see, certain artists getting a bag or talking about a bag. So it's like, oh, that's what I got to do now. But she's an artist. So you don't know if she actually living that life that she says she is. Like most of these female rappers be rapping about the life they live, and either they got a man or they want a man. So it's like
They got a whole family.
Right. It's like you're not rapping about what you talking about. But it's like, oh, it look like she's out there having fun and doing all this, but at the end of the day, females got to go back.
Families.
But
Yeah.
see, for me playing just for the sake of playing advocate, if that's getting her millions of dollars, why would she stop? And I know somebody gonna say they ain't always about the money, but let's be real. We say that because we know the word we get in the church we go to and stuff. So we know who we connected to. Everybody ain't going to church and getting that word, that money and everything.
Right.
So for somebody who's ran by money, like that's all they care about. That's what I'm saying. Like it's like a flip side of if we like how we said, oh, we're not gonna blame the labels. We can go direct to the consumer. So the flip side is on that too. That's a good point. But on the flip side of that is we also need to be, I don't know, bro. Like if we saying we want more women to appreciate themselves and more substance, that means that we have to. I hate to say it like this, whatever, but it's the truth. That means we have to freeze out negativity. And if we're not willing to freeze out negativity, then it's going. I mean, why would they stop? Like somebody whose main goal in life is to make money and be famous. Why would they stop? Like, why would I put my clothes for a female? Why would I put my clothes on when I'm getting 10 million likes for taking them off? Why? Like, why? Like, I'm just playing advocate. I ain't saying nothing right. I ain't agreeing with nothing.
Yeah.
I'm just playing the advocate right now. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because that's what I try to do now. I try to like instead of coming from a place of criticizing, and calling out. I really try to say, let me put myself in this person's shoes.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And that's really what I really be doing now as I get older. I really try to see both sides of the coin. You know what I'm saying? Even if I agree with one side, I still try to see the other side. Like, and that's the
Point of
thing.
view.
Like, they making millions, bro. They ain't about to stop. Like, they're making millions, and that's all they care about. Especially considering they came from the hood, they've been broke their whole life. You know what I'm saying? Well, I ain't giving up my millions. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so I don't. We gotta free. And the only way to change that is if we freeze out negativity and heat up positivity. That's the only way, bro. That's literally the only way. And I just that's gonna take everybody. If it's something we all aggravated about, that's gonna literally take us boycotting certain stuff and ignoring certain stuff, not hitting the like button on that, not what I'm saying, like not following this person. Is not on hater jump on no man. I want to see you do better for yourself. Like I see the potential in you. I see what you can be. So I cannot support this right here. I can't rock with this right here. You know what I'm saying? Real talk. I don't know, bro. That's just I don't know, man. I don't know, bro. That's just what I feel like. Like I don't know, bro. It's yeah.
Well, Chris, I wholeheartedly agree, man. And I'm glad you even put it that way because there are a lot of people who are watching this episode probably gonna watch this episode like you don't know my situation, you don't know how bad we need to get out this hood, you don't know how much we need this money right now. You know what? I could just say I respect the need because at the end of the day, you don't know where you're in unless you're in that person's shoes. So that's that other part of that. And maybe hopefully as we go into these next years, we can see some balance, even just to start, when it looks to who's getting shine, individuals who are talking about some substance as well and willing to go against that grain. One thing that just came across my mind when you were saying that, I think that, and going back to what Shamar said, we don't even have any. This is the first time and forever we've ever not seen anybody on the top charts of Billboard in hip hop. And I believe that speaks to the dilution of that. The product overall isn't as good as it was. And it looks like right now, it's like it's getting worse. But I believe anytime things get darker, there are stars that shine through the darkness. So in saying that, what I want to say is, and I don't know if this will be the last thing we talk about, I don't know. But what I wanted to say is I'm paying attention to the writer's strike in acting right now because it looks like Hollywood wanted to go with just AI actors and real talent, like we not having it. And so I'm seeing it's really about to be a shift and change in Hollywood. What it looks like it's probably going to end up birthing a whole lot more of independent studios and people saying we're creating our own now since y'all want to use robots to try to replace us. And you're gonna end up seeing people get shine that normally would have. I said that to say this as I pay attention to hip hop and I'm hearing more and more about people trying to incorporate AI and maybe even labels trying to say, well, we're going to use an AI voice. Don't get it twisted. I believe that what they're seeing in hip hop is about that shift or that clashing point is about to happen in hip hop. Following mark this interview, I believe that's what's coming next. Labels are going to start trying to cut out the artists even more, saying we'll just use voices, we'll just use AI and put out songs like that. And what's going to be happening is us as consumers are going to have to make a choice. And it's also going to free up that artist to say, well, if y'all don't need me as a label, now I got to build my own, and I'm gonna do it my way. And I believe we're gonna see a shift in music. It might get darker first, but then every time there's darkness, there's a remnant of light. I don't know. I want to get y'all thoughts on that as well, like what y'all think about people mentioning AI in hip hop, what that'll do to it, what you think will end up happening.
I mean, how that's gonna look though, because like I don't think people gonna really rock with that. Like, yeah, you might have a good song, but like people like to resonate with the person. So like if it's not an actual person, you can't have a concert with just a voice. Like people want to interact and like engage with the person, not just the music. So like I don't know how that's gonna work. But in the flip side though, that might be a good thing. Like if it happened and it caused artists to like go the independent route. I feel like the independent route is always like it's a double-edged sword. Yes, it's harder. It's an uphill battle. But if you think about it, a lot of artists that started off or are independent, they usually put out the best product. Like Master P, like he probably goated as like being probably one of the greatest independent artists ever. Big Crit, who else? Griselda. Like it's a lot of great artists that put out real good music that's on the independent circuit. Like so. I mean, hey, if the AI thing kind of caused that to happen, that might be the best thing to happen, low key, because now you're gonna have people really putting out their best work because they have to at that point. Like you don't have a choice because you don't have a machine behind you, so you're gonna have to put your best foot forward if you want true hip hop fans to like want to buy into it. So I mean, just like acting, like with independent movies, I think the best movies are independent made films. Like a lot of movies that I've been watching lately have been made by independents. They hadn't been made by no Universal or Warner Brothers. So I mean, it's a double edged sword, but I think it could be beneficial for pure hip hop fans because we probably gonna get the best product that we got in the past 5 to 7 years. So we'll see. I mean, but that's just my take on it. I mean, I don't know how that's gonna I don't know how that's gonna look with having a voice just be the sole thing and you not have a person behind it. So I don't know.
For real.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I mean, yeah, I mean, it ain't. It's one of them things that sound good in theory, but I ain't. Don't nothing beat the in person actual presence. Like, it's just some stuff you can't recreate on a computer, bro.
Exactly.
And then people always want to talk about computers. It's always been theories about, oh, computers gonna take over and robots gonna take over and all that. But my dad always made a very good point about computers, and he's right when he says this, in my opinion. A human being made the computer. The computer didn't create itself. A human being made it. So therefore, even if they get more advanced and more technological, a human being can deactivate it. I mean, I know that sounds so simple, but seriously, bro. A human being created it. Robots didn't create themselves. Computers did not create themselves. A human being, through a human brain, human mind, created it. So therefore, if it get out of hand, a human being can stop it, bro. So I just think we need to be aware, but we don't need to be sitting here living in fear, bro, about no AI computers and stuff, bro. You know what I'm saying? And we need to give ourselves credit. I think sometimes we as humans don't give ourselves enough credit for our ability and what's in us and what God put in us. And I know everybody don't believe in God, but that's why y'all need to believe in God. Because if you believe in God, you would know that you powerful and you the ruler of this earth anyways. But that's another story, you know what I'm saying? That's why you need to read your Bible. But that's on you if you don't. But anyways, yeah, bro. For real though, man. Like, no, nothing beats the in person, man. And like Sham said, if they start getting jazzy, all people gonna do is go independent, and they don't want that because that means they're losing money at that point. And that means the artists are getting all the money by themselves because a concert venue will gladly pay an artist. They don't care. They just want to sell tickets. They don't care who they gotta pay. They just want to sell the tickets. They ain't saying, well, since you're not signed to label, we ain't gonna let you perform at our venue. No.
Nah.
You think they're gonna tell 50 he can't perform at the venue because he ain't signed an Interscope no more? No, bro.
Yeah, right.
No, bro. They still gonna take 50 and still get all that money they gonna get off them ticket sales. They don't care, bro. So I don't think the label, it sounds good in theory, but I don't think they gonna do that. That's not smart. They ain't gonna do that, bro. They gonna learn. Just like these writer strike, same thing. They about to learn too. Real talk. They about to learn, bro. Come on, bro. You need people. You need actual human beings, bro. The AI stuff is gonna fizzle out, bro. You know what I'm saying? It's just gonna fizzle out, bro. Like Sham said, man, independence might be the best thing, anyways. And you mentioned a lot of names, Sham, but I'm telling you one that you missed. And I ain't even talking about. And I ain't talking about I ain't talking about from musical standpoint with this one because I can't necessarily say I necessarily agree with all this person's music. So I'm not gonna sit here and act like I'm co-signing his music. But I will say I do co-sign his hustle. Tech Nine, bro.
Yeah.
Tech Nine is making millions in the independent circuit, bro, for real. And he's been doing it for years now. He has a very loyal fan base. He has a very cult-like following, bro, and he's been making plenty of money independently for years, bro. And of course, he's not at the Grammys. He's not on your TV screen. He probably don't even have as much Instagram followers as your favorite artist. However, this dude has been making plenty of money because all that money goes to him. He's on the independent circuit. So, but I'm pretty sure, like, back to the original point, it probably took him longer. He had to build that. That didn't happen overnight, but he took the longer route and paid off, man. So that's a word for whoever need to be a word for, bro. Quick money ain't always good money. Quick money ain't always lasting money. So,
yep. Anything worth having is worth building.
Right.
Yeah.
Big fix.
And I'll say the piggyback off that, if they do go independent, I always go back to what Tyler Perry said. He was like, he did an interview where it was like he couldn't get a seat at the table, so he made his own table.
Right.
And so now, like Chris said, all that money is going to him. So it's like with these independent artists, once they look at your Chance the Rapper, all that money is going to him. And he's like one of the dopest artists out there.
Chance,
So it's
please
like,
come back. I think Chance sorry to cut you off, BC. I think Chance let the reviews he got from that last album scare him. Forget that, man. Come back and do it again, bro. That's just my opinion. I don't know that to be fact, but I feel like he let the bad reviews he got from that last album stop him from making music.
And that's the thing. Everything, that's the thing. Everything he put out. I mean, everything he put out ain't gonna necessarily be,
right.
Yeah,
that's the part of the grind. Like everything ain't gonna be a smash. You know what I'm saying? Like, but still,
I feel like he let that. I feel like he let, and I could be wrong. I don't know that to be fact. So
I think
forgive me if I'm wrong, Chance.
He's still doing stuff. I think he's just more. He's putting on events and doing. I know he's hosting shows, so he might be organically finished with rap when it comes to main albums, and just he's doing more things more when it comes to like TV hosting and things of that nature. I've seen him do some things like that, but he might have another one in him.
I think he got one more.
Think he got one more?
I think he got plenty more in him.
He
got plenty. That Chance he didn't even hit his prime yet, bro. He was just getting.
Chance talented, bro, and his evolution as an artist is crazy. Like if you listen to like when he first started up until now, like he was talented.
I'm gonna say, man, don't let them talk judge about that one album though. You go, bro.
There's a lot of independents that don't get to shine, but they're super talented, man. I want to give an honorable mention over to Lil Brother. Lil Brother out of North Carolina. Like they're a group that I listen to prominently, man, because of they first play and they were signed for a little bit, but realized that wasn't it, and went back independent, man, and they did super dope.
Yeah,
man.
Yep, Nipsey Hussle, R.I.P. Like he's another one. Like
did
it his way. You know what I'm saying? Did it and it worked out for him. So
man. Well, cool, man. I don't know. I guess we wrap and we probably are at the edge of wrapping this episode up, man. Hip hop turns 50, man. I think this is a fire episode, y'all.
Yeah, it was a great episode.
Yeah, man. Sham.
Shout out.
What kind of shoes you got, man?
you gotta do it.
How about that? Be real, y'all, boy. I just picked something.
So y'all, this is a tradition that Chris started. At the end of every episode, Sham pulls out a pair of exclusive joints. Like you see all the shoes behind him. He pulls out shoes that we might never known he had.
What a minute, Ben and Jerry.
Yeah, the Ben Jerry's. Yeah. Ben Jerry dunks. And I wear mine respectfully. So.
A lot of people ain't wearing that. They were using them to collect items.
People are always about that money, man.
How much? How much, Sam?
How much mine was? Oh, I got mine for retail.
You see that?
What?
I got mine for retail, but it should when it was like brand new in the box. It was going for a lot, bro, like $1,000.
Jeez.
Yeah, bro. But I mean, it's how I look at it, bro. If I'm lucky enough to get mine for retail, bro, I'm wearing them. Like I ain't about to get it in. Y'all know I love my shoes. I love the shoes. So I ain't in it for the money all the time. Yeah. But yeah.
Word, man. What's up, man? Another episode in the books.
Another one.
Bet, man.
Oh, man.
Word. So any closing thoughts, man? Love y'all. Till next time.
Till next time.
See y'all, man. To the next episode.
All right, fam.
All right, y'all.
All right, y'all.